Okay, thank you, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of the network show. How about this show? It is bigger than ever and really producing a lot of results from everyone I hear, which is amazing. I love that as a boss babe to see one community come together to grow, and then also hearing that people are getting that ROI. And so today I'm really excited to have this panel. I Thank you, Nom, cried when I saw this list. Tiana, who I interviewed in the podcast at our first network show a few years ago. So this is a lot of fun to share this moment with you and hear about your growth, because you have a lot of stories to share now after these few years, right? Yeah. And then Tina, I've been such a big fan, and I finally got to meet her yesterday. This woman is like the heart of up in Humboldt, and really excited to share how you have grown your small brand into um, a legend, really, right? And Emilio, okay, you guys, I became obsessed with Big Boy Dro a year ago. Mikey Kush let me be a judge for Nothing But Fire last year. Their Skittles was a fire across the board, but there was this one flower, one jar, number 2, that I just had to know what it was. I kept a nug for months, saw them at Ventura Hall of Flowers, and they gave me a bag and they said, "Does this smell familiar?" And oh my God, it changed my life. So your Sour Pez number 3, still to this day, is the only one I've even smelled. I told them after this I have to go back to the booth and smell the rest. But you guys have been really quiet. I am one hell of a Google researcher and found not much. So I'm excited for you to be able to share the story of your brand for really the first time.
Yeah, this is the first time we're ever going to speak on something like this and try to educate some of you guys.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for taking this opportunity to share. So, all of you, I mean, the first question, really, what I'd love to hear from all of you is, what inspired you to start your brand, and what makes it different from the others. And they're all very different. So I'm excited for you guys to hear this. Tiana, I think let's go ahead and start with you. I feel like yours is even, you're not the flower brand, so yours is very, very different.
Yes, it is. I'm so happy to be here. So thank you so much for this panel. But yeah, so my name is Tiana Woodruff. For those of you who don't know, I have a wellness-based edible brand called Queen Mary. We launched in Los Angeles. Well, actually, we launched in October of 21 at the MJ Impact Show in Las Vegas. It was my first show, kind of coming out. And so the way my brand got started was I had an aunt who had surgery and was prescribed opioids in the mid 2000s, and kind of she became addicted to her pain meds, and it was a long, hard journey and a slow decline. And she has since passed to be a family member watching somebody that has been a thriving businesswoman doing well in life who gets addicted to her stuff. And I mean, she didn't like lose her house or anything, but she just couldn't stop taking her prescription meds. Mm-hmm. And so I had a friend who sent me this book called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. It's written by a renowned psychologist who basically uses natural vitamins and adaptogens to take in place of using prescription, opioids, prescription benzos, pain meds, Adderall even. And so he has this chart in this book saying, hey, if you're on Adderall, you take like green tea, L-theanine, rhodiola, and B12, and this combination is gives you the same effect as Adderall. And as I was reading this book and was very inspired and moved, I had this aha moment that, okay, so I understand that you're treating the ailments, but the problem with prescription drugs is they still mess with our CB1 receptors. And you get this euphoric high that you are still chasing from that. Like everyone that takes Adderall loves the feeling. So I said, what if we use a natural plant-based medicine and add that to these vitamins and adaptogens. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the birth of how our brand started. Fast forward a few years later, my 91-year-old grandmother fell and broke her hip. She was always very active, and they prescribed her the same meds that they gave my aunt. And I literally put my foot down and said, we're not going through this again. I have to find an alternative. And that's how the start of my brand came about, was putting plant-based medicine and combining it with proven vitamins and adaptogens that the FDA has approved, and creating a whole new space for balance and wellness in life. So that's my story.
Well, and I think one of the things that I think is also really unique about your product line is you made everything very user friendly and functional as well. Like there's no one has to worry about smoking. You know, we have that stigma out there. And so when you're looking at patients and how they consume something new, right? You've definitely, I think you've done a great job in making that user friendly.
Yes, very much. Thank you. Yeah, we right now currently everyone always asks like when I go to stores and buyers like, "Oh, you have these gummies. How many flavors does it come in?" And I always have to respond with, "We're not based on flavors, and there's a lot of brands out there. Each of our gummies is very focused on a certain effect. You know, energy, focus, sleep. We're coming out with immunity now, and so there's a flavor profile that's provided, but it's provided we come up with our flavors based on the strains we use. We have to fill that profile. So right now, like with our immunity gummy, we're using Burmese mimosa from, I'm gonna give a shout out to Sunrise Mountain Farms in Humboldt, Sun and Earth certified. And because it has a very fruity, grapefruity taste and it goes with the grapefruit, pineapple flavor that we're doing on this. So we're very serious and very health conscious and really looking forward to having, effective based gummies that work and are very consistent.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Tina, you've had a hell of a journey.
Yeah, it's been a really fun, exciting roller coaster of a life, and I was never anticipating to become a cultivator. I grew up in San Francisco and found myself living in San Francisco in the '90s and early 2000s as a rock and roll drummer, and very active in the underground art space and living very lean. And I didn't have house plants. I wasn't concerned with house plants, kind of nature. I didn't understand like why people would want to go on a hike or go camping. I just didn't get any of it. And then I took a trip to Humboldt, and I instantly just kind of felt something. Ended up spending time up there making a documentary about the first older female drummer I ever met in my life. And that's what led me to working with the plant. So I start working with the plant, and I absolutely fell in love. Like it was the first thing on my mind when I woke up, the last thing on my mind when I went to sleep, and I was like, oh, I'm in love with a plant. And so that was 18 years ago. And ever since, what this plant did is it truly brought me into nature and the natural world, and which brought me into growing organic sun-grown, regenerative practices, because what I saw was this, and what I see is this. I see that right now in the marketplace, there's approximately 1/2 of 1% of shelf space is occupied by organic sun-grown. And I'm just gonna say that again. 1/2 of 1% of shelf space is occupied by organic sun-grown. And so, you know what? It's not everyone's bag, but for the people who could benefit from it, I want them to have access. And so, when I started Moon Made Farms, it's really another piece as well. What I was struck by when I was in Humboldt County and started tuning into this incredibly, incredibly powerful plant, and likely the most powerful plant on the planet, what I started understanding was everything that affects this plant affects its expression. And I thought, how does the night sky, how does this moonlight and all of its phases affect this plant? And I looked up farming by the moon and found lunar farming and started practicing that immediately. And so this is what I do to this day. It's all about the moon cycles, it's all about the night cycles, as well as the sunlight. And the reason why this is important, y'all, is because these plants are exposed to an infinite number of variables on a daily basis. An infinite number of variables. And so when you smoke organic sun-grown, you're soaking up all of that. That's what I call higher highs, right? So you take a few hits of sun-grown and you're like, oh, dang, I'm on a journey. And it's like this. And so much happens. So for anyone who has never smoked organic sun-grown, give it a try. For those of you who are into organic sun-grown, please talk to me. I would love to talk with you about the benefits of this plant and how it may change your life. So I really appreciate, Ishqa, the opportunity to be here, and I appreciate the network show and for bringing in small craft brands, y'all, because it's not about me and mine, it's about us and ours. This is community, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm really thrilled to be here. And also, let's have something for everyone. A diverse culture is a healthy culture.
That is
So
what I love.
I'm so excited to be here, honored to be here on this panel with these folks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tina. Emilio, I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear the story. I've been waiting. You guys, I've been like trying not to ask questions in advance, but really excited. I've seen you at so many different events. You're everywhere, but always tall and silent. So today we get to finally hear the story. I know you've been with the brand from the beginning, and
So, first of all, thank you, Ishqa, and thank you, Network Show, for having us. This is amazing. So we started about 4 years ago, and we started as a brand that was growing only in OG. But from there, we started strain hunting, and we found actually your favorite strain, the Sour Pez, which was one of our keepers. So that one's been growing for about 4 years now. And the thing that we do differently than a lot more other people is we try to go to like all the lesser end shows and stuff, show our support. We don't really have a big background, but we're trying still. We're not like the big corporate business or anything, but we're still trying out there.
yeah.
It's been a fun ride, honestly, but mostly like everybody here, we started off in the trap scene. So we went from there, and then we started growing our own, did our own indoor finally, and we made it big time. It was really great with that Sour Pez. It put our name out there for us for sure.
It's, if you guys haven't tried it, you have to at least go and smell it. It's so good. Yeah, really, really each a very different business model. We've got indoor, we've got outdoor, we've got, functional all day gummies, but also tincture, that coffee teacher. Tincture is like what?
Thank you.
You know, what they're all so different. What has been the way that you've really stood out as a small brand against these larger businesses, against these larger budgets, and in your individuality?
Is that question for me first?
I'm looking
You're
at
looking
you. We
right
made
at me.
eye
I was like, I guess
contact,
that's
so
for me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I actually really love this question because I get asked this a lot. And as a small brand, and people are like, oh, a lot of people have heard Queen Mary and know who we are. And I am always like, it's me. Like I'm still still an operation of one. Yes, I have people that I hire and do things, but everything comes through me. And finding a niche and understanding your lane as a brand, especially in the edible space. And when I came out 5 years ago, especially a lot of the big flower brands, they weren't concerned with edibles. Everyone was doing flower. Everyone was doing their own thing. Like my biggest competitors were just a couple of brands that were actual edible brands. And what's funny right now today, fast forward, is the edible brands still do edibles and they're not doing flower. But a lot of the flower brands decided they needed to expand into edibles, which really confused the market because flower brands and edible brands, that's a very different thing. It's like, you don't have a shoe company over there trying to make engines, it's just a different, I don't know. So finding your lane as an edible brand for me was, I needed something to stand out, something to be different. And I had a purpose and a cause, which was, like I said, our tagline is, providing a natural alternative to addictive prescriptions. And there's so many people in this world and we're all on medications. We're all going to therapists. We're all doing all these things to have health and wellness and balance in our life. And I really wanted to destigmatize the plant and find a way to discreetly have professional women and mothers not be, looked down upon for the use of the plant. And the way I was able to do that was, when I started, I had this whole idea. I was going to do this huge line. I was going to have the wine. I was going to have a vape. I was going to have pre-rolls, and I was going to have edibles. Well, budget didn't do that. I'm in a social equity brand. So I actually got my start. I won a grant from a company that runs Dab Daddy, who's out here, and I don't think anybody's still there now. I got $10,000, and I went into production, and I was like, all right, with this $10,000, what am I going to do? And I decided, let's do these gummies. I think this is what it's going to go for. And I started with 2 gummies, Enchanted and Moonstruck, day and night, and I formulated those and I launched them. I had $10,000. I made 1,000 of each product and just started going with it. And then it expanded to the tincture 6 months later, which I was able to add and have a daily cannabis regimen because everyone does daily. Everyone gets up in the morning, takes their daily vitamin, their coffee, their stuff. And so I really wanted to get consumers to normalize the use of the plant and take their cannabis in the morning with their vitamins. Like that was what my lane was, and that's where I've stayed. Now, the challenge there, of course, is education, right? Like you have to put the education out there. You got to let people know what it is, and that's what I've been doing all this time. But it's just, the branding and the idea, and you're up against a lot of big brands that have bright colors and big budgets, and they're making things look really nice. But the truth is that, like, I try every edible out there. Like, that's my job. I go and I buy what's on the shelves, and I chase a lot of distillate and a lot of gummies that aren't great. So we get a bad rap. Everybody has a bad edible story. Everybody has a story that at that time they took a brownie or an edible and then they were out. Mine was, I forgot one time before Christmas and ended up on Christmas Eve in Macy's on the beds for 2 hours. This is great. Forgot what I was doing. But so, marketing, and we've been very concise in our marketing in health, wellness-based, functional edibles. And it was great to see over the last 5 years how that is actually coming full circle. And now that's like a mainstream in cannabis. We're finding that it's not just a recreational plant. It's not just, for people to get high and, like alcohol and just release, but there's also lots of benefits to it. And so as a small brand, I chose to stick to the health and wellness space and kind of like quiet the noise of all the rest of the industry that's, there, of course, there's a lot of culture and and I respect all of that, but it's not my lane and I've stayed far from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tina.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for how much you care. I mean, it's all about creating a regenerative supply chain. It's all about from seed to smoke, or whether that's, if however anybody is ingesting this plant, it's considering them.
Yeah.
And so, that's part of the piece around being a small craft brand, is that everything that we do is done with our own oversight. It's like everyone talks about how many hats we wear, and we're all growing this, this together in such a way where it's like the legal market is extremely challenging. The concessions that were made and the compromises that were made in the rulemaking, right, in the compliance structure, is challenging for everyone up and down the supply chain. However, when somebody receives benefit from this flower in whatever form, it makes you want to keep going.
Yeah.
And so it's truly like the proof of concept from starting this brand and having one intention to seeing how incredibly challenging it is and almost impossible to get organic sun-grown into people's pipes, into people's bongs. And by the way, Mendy over here has, Mendy, right over here. And yeah, there she is. There she is. If anyone would like to sample some Forbidden Fire, it's right here with Mendy. And from Moonmade Farms. So thank you, Mendy, for representing. And so really, like, the reason why we have survived and the reason we're still here, it's because I care so much about every one of these plants that the ethos is in the farm and how we grow the plant. It's in how we harvest the plant, how we cure the plant, how we trim the plant, how we store the plant, and how we package it to get to people. And so I feel that if you can do that in such a way where it's like somebody receiving a home-cooked meal, that is the goal. We want this to be nutrient dense for the consciousness.
Absolutely.
We want this to be nutrient dense to make people feel better. That's what's up, y'all. It's like it is, I think, a very noble ambition to do this. And for any of the small brands out there, and there's so many here, and can I see some small brands that are out here? That's right. That's right.
We support each other. Thank you for
support
showing
each
up
other.
today.
All these good
Thank you.
people.
Thank you.
And a key part of this, collaboration.
Yes.
You know what another key part of this is? Amazing women in this space that are helping each other out.
Yes.
That's right.
And you look out here, everyone out here, that most of the small brands are women-owned brands. And I think that's a disparity also with funding and everything else. And what's great about being small is even though cost is a problem, bottom line is not, bigger companies, they have a bottom line and there's a race to the bottom. And we care enough to do small batches. Quality and consistency is what we stand on. And a lot of the bigger brands stand, price and value. And those are the things, like you can choose your lane in the industry, but you can't be all of it. You can't be quality, consistent, price, and value. Like, it doesn't work. So you have to pick your lane, decide what one of those values is that your product stands on, and you stay in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. It's like, this is not necessarily about bigger, more, and faster. It's about the quality of what is reaching people. And so, like, on the farm, I have, instead of being able to, because I taught myself how to cultivate this plant, I share things like, for instance, every bud is a gem. And that's what I've said to processors, trimmers, all along the line. Every bud is a gem. Consider the person who's going to be consuming this bud, right? And then in terms of farming, have eyes on every plant every day, right? Tune in with all of your senses. Be the plant. Imagine you are the plant, right? And when you put that kind of intention and love into a product, like you can feel that. It translates, you know?
Yeah.
It's once again, it's like a home-cooked meal that you know was cooked with love and it tastes like nothing else.
I mean, it's a bit of spell work too, even in your names. I look at the names that you come up with, and Love and Peace yesterday. I mean, just smelling that, and it's very apropos because you feel it when you smell it, you know, and that's really some of the beauty of what you've done.
Yeah, I mean the idea with peace and love, and like with so many cultivar names, I imagine somebody walking into a shop and asking for peace and love, or somebody behind a counter saying, "Have you tried peace and love?"
Yeah.
And just how that may resonate, you know? Because it's not only about like building a brand isn't necessarily about us. It's about it's about community and culture. It's about what we're putting into the providing and putting into the world. You know, I much more like prefer to look at this as like artwork, you know, something that resonates with someone, and then how does that affect that person not only that day but contributes to the quality of their life, so that what resonance is moving through them into the world, you know?
Yeah. Emilio, I mean, same thing, being a smaller brand, but also having a storefront so you get to see directly at times the consumers and their response, and what's that been like for you?
So for us, me mainly, I'm also a bartender at the storefront. So I do get to talk to the consumers and ask them questions. We like to ask our consumers, did you like the strain? How are you digging it? Is it good enough for you? And we actually go off there what the reviews tell us. So if they don't like it, we throw that strain away completely. But if they like it, we keep it and we keep trying to find new ones that they're always going to love. Like for us, we always try to go to little shows, because even the little shows help you with connections. They help you build your name. They help you build everything you need. Honestly, even the big shows too, like network show. It's a great one, but like many people still can't go to that. So the little shows are what helps us a
Yeah.
lot. Honestly.
I love that. What has been the biggest advantage you feel you've had as a small brand over some of the larger brands?
For us, it's the connections we make and how fast we're able to put our product out as well. So, like for some brands, it might take them a month to like maybe like put out a strain that they haven't had for a minute. Us, we've always had strains in the back just in case, so we're always trying to be prepared and ready. So let's say we sell out over one strain, but somebody's asking for it in a month. We'll have it at least more triple times, like to supply it for people. That's how we try to do it. We try to do it for the people. If they want more, we'll try to grow more for them as well.
Tiana, you mentioned that, you were saying there's always a cost to everything, right? So being a larger brand, needing to have that bottom line, that being a smaller brand, you have an advantage over that. What other advantages would you say that you have as a small brand? And actually, you've gone to a lot of other states. So you've also competed against a lot of other brands in that. What have been some of the lessons, and what would you say are some of the advantages you feel you've had in those situations?
Wow, that's a loaded question. Like the lessons along the way, let me count the ways. But I think the biggest advantage that small brands have, I think when everyone wants to grow. We all want to be big corporations. We all want to make the big money. But it's sometimes what happens as you scale. Scaling is basically the key, right? As a small brand. How do we scale and stay true to our core values and stay, to what we do? Because what happens is, eventually things get diluted. Costs have to come down. You start, making cuts and doing things and changing. And I think as an advantage of being a small brand and staying in your lane is you don't have to do that. I don't have to, worry about that. And I scale. I learned my lesson early because I'm very, I'm competitive and I'm aggressive and I want to reach the top. I'm like always on a race. If y'all know me, I'm like 100 miles an hour all the time. And I learned my lesson in the first couple of years because I put my brand out there and I really, really put my heart on my sleeve, and everyone was coming at me and really wanted it. And I didn't have the money. Like, everyone kept saying that's a good problem to have, that my supply couldn't reach my demand. Like, my demand was so much higher than the supply that I could do. And I kept saying, I need help, I need help. And as a small brand and as a woman of color, everyone was like, you're doing such a great job. And I'd be like, but I have no money. And they'd be like, but that's okay. And just keep waving. And I'm like, but how do I fix this? And so I made that mistake of trying to scale and grow too fast. And it wasn't, if you don't have the funding or the money or the corporations behind you, it's next to impossible. And I learned that the hard way. And so you have to kind of step back and grow with what you can do, no matter what the market's demanding of you. And what's great about it sometimes is if you're niche, people will come out and find you. I have so many people that DM me that if I go to like a lot of I started my brand on mostly going to any pop-up, any farmer's market, someone's pool party, whatever, putting out edibles and sampling. And I would get so many messages, oh, my friend gave me this, or I got this from somewhere, where can I find it? I'm looking online. And we're in very small select stores up and down the state, like 2 stores per city kind of sort of thing. And so, but what's great is people will still go and seek you out. And when you're not overly available, I learned something in school in marketing. One of the things we looked at was Starbucks. Starbucks was like, they're still big, don't get me wrong, but they grew so fast. And then a lot of people now are like, Starbucks. And it's like, but they were such a wonderful thing. And that was a mistake that they made of coming outside of who they were. They just were like, everyone wants us, so we're putting 3 on every corner. And so I think as a small brand, you have to find that balance between growth and profitability and staying true to your core values and still being a niche brand. Like, if you're niche, you stay niche. If you choose to switch over, that's fine. Just know that that's the scale of things and how business operates. But a lot of us smaller brands, we're here to stay. Like, I want to run my business. I'm not here to be like, I'm going to grow this in 5 years. If some big MSO wants to buy me out for a few $1 million, yay. I mean, I'll partner with you, and I'm going to stay on board, and I'm going to make sure that my values and quality are still there. But I'm not on a race for that. I'm here because I love what I do. I love being in the market. I love talking to people. I love showing up and genuinely just helping people have better lives and function every day. So that's been an advantage.
Yeah. Tina, what about you? Advantages that you've had being a smaller brand over a large one? I mean, I feel like independence and doing things your way is definitely a part of that, right?
Well, I think that it really helps to have, in this environment, like, one of the superpowers truly is having a hardcore work ethic. And, this is something like, once again, this comes back to like an approach that's more creative, yeah? And so when you're a musician, you're making music, you're making art, you're doing something because something inside of you, it's like you feel compelled to share something. That's not necessarily like, what is the value proposition of that? And there's no return, there's no ROI, do you know? It doesn't exist within that world. There's a different value proposition. And so I will do whatever it takes all the time, every day, every night, to have the next day. It's like, it's just, there aren't any boundaries there. And so I can't really apply that work ethic to like the current model of how to be like a successful scaling business. What I can do is get through this passage, and I can do it in such a way where I find all of the other people who are doing the same thing, and doing it with inspiration, and doing it with where it's like, I can't even explain like how it's like when there's a challenge and you get beyond that challenge, how energizing that is, and you just want to keep going. And when you have that feeling and when you have that urge, you're on your path, there's purpose. And so I think that the sense of purpose just like drives me every day. I feel so compelled to do this. And so I think that's the biggest piece, It's like, I've never thought about like, what is my hourly on this? I don't know, about 15 cents. Like, what do I get paid? I have no idea. I would never ask myself that,
Yeah.
It's like,
No, go ahead. I was like, you inspired me to say, like, that's like the point. It's what's great about being small, and we get to be innovative and, try something new. And like, especially when I was starting out 5 years ago, I looked at the market and I said, okay, everyone's doing distillate. What's this? I found out about rosin. It was new then. Nobody was really using it. And so not only were my gummies different, but they were rosin, fast acting, and they were vegan, which most companies were doing one or two or maybe whatever. And so I had something very different that no one was doing. And what's funny is 5 years later, now it's everywhere, right? Everyone's got solvent lists written on their packaging. Everyone's fast acting, and everyone. So here I am in it. I'm gonna make a quick announcement. Like, so I'm like, okay, solvent list is the new like trend. So we get to be trendsetters as small brands because now I'm going solvent. I'm going extractionless gummies, whole plant. Like nobody, there's only one other company in the country doing it. We're taking whole flour, putting it directly into the gummies. Old school, we used to do it with brownies, right?
Yeah.
But we're still making it fast acting and vegan. And so it's like, we don't need to do extractions. Now we're going to the core of the flour, putting the whole thing in there, worrying about strains and their effects, and it just goes all into the wellness segment.
I do have to say one thing. I think you doing it first and then winning all those awards might be why some of those other companies are following suit.
Oh, thank you.
You know, and that's a strategy too, right? I really want to get into like some of the strategies that you've all undertaken as far as how to grow your brand. I know, Tiana, for you, it's definitely been a lot of public speaking. And also a lot of award shows.
Yeah, that was I mean, when you don't have money, you don't have a budget for advertising and putting, when Weed Maps wants $1,000 a month just to have a listing, and, you got to pay for LeafLink, and you got to pay for all these programs, and they're not cheap. And it's like, well, where's this coming from? It's digging into my bottom line. Well, for me, not everybody is easy up in front of people and speaking. Well, you lean into what you're good at. That's what I'm good at. So I had to find a strategy to get my brand out there without the budget of advertising. Yeah. And that was getting on panels, making sure everybody doing was let people know that I'm a speaker and I'm happy to educate. That became a thing. Education is key, and that's what we stood on. And so that's how I was able to do that. And I mean, it's not for everybody, but it was the path I was able to take, and I'm blessed that I'm still here and because of it.
Well, and you've also been able to uplift your community at the same time by speaking for other social equity brands in ways that they are not as comfortable doing. So I think you've also been able to really shine a lot of light on a large need within this industry as well.
Yes, thank you. That's part of the value, yes.
I mean, I think that's part of the piece is that when you have a brand, what it becomes available to you is that your brand is your platform. And so if you do have something to say, you have a platform to say it from. And that's incredibly powerful. One of the other things that's amazing about being a small player in this scene right now is that you can walk into a shop of those shops where that offer the kind of product that, organic sun-ground, right? And we are side by side with these huge brands. And in what, in what world does that happen? And so that is so there's still opportunity here.
Yeah.
And if there is that opportunity, and if you know that you're serving people, for instance, so by the way, you guys, we're in A48. That's our booth. And please come sit with us, check out our flower, smell our flower, and check out the farm, where we're coming from. And so the piece is that in an environment like this, we can all be side by side. It's an ecosystem. There's going to be variety. There's going to be difference. There's going to be indoor. There's going to be edibles. There's going to be sun-grown. And all of it should be represented,
Yeah.
And so as a small brand, we can pivot. We are flexible. We are innovative. And we can make those decisions and make it happen quick. And there's an incredible advantage to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Emilio.
For us, it was mainly, so I'm gonna go back to it. It's our consumers. For us, when we do small batches, we do it for them so they can tell us what they like mainly. So that's one thing that sets us apart too. And then the other thing is we do listen to other brands. Like if say like another brand has a idea for us, like, hey, you guys should try this or do this as well. We'll take it. We'll listen. We're here to listen. We're here to stay as well. We want to be successful just like everybody else. Just like how she's won awards, I want to win awards like her.
Yeah.
We want to be in the same space as almost everybody. I have the love for sun-grown, indoor, everything really.
Yeah.
We just started a rosin line as well. It was the Cold Gear Cowboys. That one's been really doing amazing right now. So for us, it's just honestly working our way up to everybody right now. That's how we're trying to stand out.
I mean, you're there. It's really yummy. Definitely check out their booth too. How has community, both in person and online, really helped with the growth of the brand? Emilio, I'm going to start with you on this one.
For us, it's been when we give people samples of our flour, we don't expect them to like go post about it, but they do. They write videos, they reviews, they have all this stuff, and then they come back asking for more, and they're like, "Hey, what was that strain? Can you tell us more about it? What's the lineage?" It was amazing, and that's what
You
we like to
DM
do.
them every day and stalk them online. Yes.
We appreciate that, though. Honestly, that's what it makes us smile, and it makes us feel like we're actually doing something right in our life.
Yeah.
So that's what we like to do, basically.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about being a small brand is we actually interact with our customers a lot more. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in other states and I have licensed my brand to larger MSOs and dealing with them, and you learn that like the operators in the manufacturing facility and the C-suite people are on totally different pages. It's like day and night. The conversations I have, I'm like, what's in my contract and what's being done, or not even, it's just crazy. And they're so disconnected from the consumer. They hire, bud tender, they go into bud tenders, they have bud brand representatives that they train. But it's so great, I think, for consumers when they walk into a store, or even bud tenders when I walk in to do a training, that they meet the CEO and the founder of the company. Like that's something you don't get in big corporations. That's what you get from small businesses. That we care and we're gonna meet with you and talk with you. And my story with bud tenders is that I started off as a delivery driver in this industry. Like, back in 2016, I was delivering cannabis door to door in medical days at night till like 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's where I realized there was where I got my idea as well, that there was a void in the industry. Most people I were delivering to were women ordering online because they weren't going to dispensaries.
Right.
This is before, all the Prop 64 stuff. But so that's a thing, like, being able to connect with the consumers and
Yeah.
getting feedback and knowing that we're approachable. And I think that's one of the biggest things that gets overlooked about being a small business.
Yeah. And Tina, I feel like everything you do is really based on community. You do so much education and just the way that you work up in the Bay Area and the love that you've built there. I want to hear more about that.
Well, I think that when it gets to the core of this is really all about the plant and what the plant has to share, and the plant as a teacher. And I think that the plant teaches us intimacy. It teaches us collaboration and cooperation. It teaches us introspection. It helps us express our creativity. It helps with ideation and thought synthesis. This incredible teacher. And so if we're aligned with this plant, I think that is what reaches people. And I think that what is going to happen as we move forward is that the plant is going to reject some systems and embrace others. And either we're going to fight against that, and that's a losing battle because the plant's been here a lot longer than us, right? And so we're dealing with like this highly intelligent plant that's been here for many thousands of years. And what we're trying to do is, we're trying to bring this plant to people in such a way that could hopefully help as many people as possible. However, if we do that by extractive means, it's not going to work in the long run. And so either we contribute back, we give back to the plant, and we truly honor the plant in that relationship with people, or it's not going to work out. People are going to end up getting sick. People's businesses are going to end up failing. It's like the plant is at the core of all of this.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going on.
We can't forget it's medicine first, right? Its use. This is amazing. I could definitely talk to all three of them all day, but we don't have that kind of time. I do want to make sure, though, that you know where to find each of them, both here today at the show. Do go check out their booths. It's the last day to do so. But also online, be able to make sure that you can follow all three of them. So can you each share where they can find you today and after?
Yeah, so here you can find us at B77. We're literally down the middle. The first booth that you'll see us right there, Big Boy Dro. And then our Instagram, we only have an Instagram. It is big_boy_Dro_2 because we got shut down already.
Because IG.
Yeah.
So we are in A48, just a little walk down this way. And I'm also, I got to shout out Mogu Magu and Wendy Zhang and
Yeah.
Christina Wong, who are helping out. Also, Matt, who is like this incredible tea guy. And we're all hanging out together in our booth and would love to talk organic sun grown and just like kind of state of things with anyone who wants to roll by. Please connect. I answer my own DMs on Instagram. I do our Instagram account. That's at Moonmade Farms. And also www.moonmadefarms. And would love to connect. Any buyers out there who are organic, sun-grown, curious, please talk to me.
And Tiana?
Oh, hi. Yeah, so we, Instagram, QueenMary_LA, website, queenmarybrand.com. Make it very simple. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on our website. You can pretty much find me if there's an event. I'm probably at it. I have a booth or I'm wandering around. Please, reach out. We have a newsletter. Subscribe. We love to send out where we're going, what we're doing. We're trying to grow into different states and, combine the corporate world with the small craft brand. It took a lot of work to get licensed with a big company to explain what we're doing. And I think we need more small brands to be able to align with these MSOs and kind of help guide the market back where it needs to be, because we're losing sight of what's important and where we need to go with this. And, we just, like I said, it just needs to be more concise. But you can find us anywhere. Like I said, queenmarybrand.com. And yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for listening to this amazing panel. I'm so excited to be able to share these amazing small brands with you and have the opportunity to host. You can find more conversations like this and even a couple with Tiana at thecannabossbabes.com. Thank you.
Yes.